Good day and greetings from Massa Avenue International College. Today we meet again for Massa Avenue International College Open Day. I'm Parveen Jaram, Head of School for Business and Accountancy, and we bring to you another interesting topic with our special guest today, Mr. Kenneth Wong from Trapper Interactive. Today's topic will be digital transformation and how does it impact advertising strategies? Before we start our session, I would like to introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Kenneth Wong, CEO of Trapper Interactive. Hello, Mr. Kenneth. How are you today?
Hi. Thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, all the audiences and
Yeah.
everyone in Massa as well. Glad to be
Thank,
here. Thanks for having me.
thank you very much for actually being here for with us so early on a Saturday morning. We appreciate it. Yeah. Before we proceed, just a little background of Mr. Kenneth before we move on. Yeah, he has a vast experience of digital advertising since 2007. Am I right, Kenneth?
Yeah.
And is currently working with Trapper Interactive, which is part of Trapper Media Group Malaysia. I believe that he is more than happy to share his opinions and also insights of the digital advertising industry based on his extensive experience.
Yeah.
Right, Kenneth, today you'll be sharing a lot with us about digital
Yeah.
advertising, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, before we move on, for the benefit of all the audiences, digital transformation is something that has been happening for the past 10 years or even more than 10 years. But in the recent days, especially during COVID, during COVID and also post COVID, is becoming more prominent. Am I right, Kenneth? So
Yep.
basically, how all what we'll be talking about today is how does it actually impact advertising strategies. Instead of using the old traditional media, people are currently moving more towards online, and also they're moving looking more at digital advertising, right?
Yep.
Okay, Kenneth, so let's just start off with today's session, right? The first question that I would like to ask you, in your opinion, what does digital transformation really mean for today's business leaders, particularly in advertising field?
Yeah. So that's actually a really interesting question. Like I've been doing the same thing for the past 19 plus years, coming 20 years, across from brand sides to agency side of things, and now on media. Together with Trapper, we started at Minor as well, which is a programmatic arm. Um, you know, like, uh, and interestingly enough, I've been doing this for 8 markets out of the hub out of Malaysia. I'm going to share perspective from what I've seen, not just in Malaysia, but across the region here as well, right?
Sure.
So, on digital transformation in a sense of advertising field, it's like this. It's from a marketing and advertising perspective. Different businesses and companies have different levels of understanding and appreciation of digital transformation within the advertising field. What I mean is that depending on business goals and objectives, there are businesses and brands that appreciate different levels of channel availability, data and attribution, and all the different advertising creative formats, the transparency and flexibility, right? And very importantly, digital transformation in advertising field is about efficiencies as well. So what it has done for the advertising industry is that it has increased the efficiencies. um, and for businesses, it actually means efficiencies of their marketing budgets that they put in, right? So with the shift to run more digital advertising campaigns, we've actually seen higher pace of spends on digital advertising, growing on an average of 15 to 30% yearly over at least the past 5 years. The
That is
pandemic
impressive.
has actually, yeah, it's absolutely. The pandemic, it has actually, give a lot more prominent for businesses that, to look more into digital advertising and not just on banner or social, but across the full vast of it, right? Across partnership, influencers, KOLs are coming up again, like online selling and all of that, right? So, this digital transformation actually means that business leaders are really looking at how they can reach out to the right customers at the right time and place, of course, but most importantly, in the most precise manner that help reach their business goals. So that can be done on digital, on advertising. That's what it has done to the whole advertising industry. Now, this also translate into ensuring that businesses are even more digital ready. So, like we saw a lot of businesses during the pandemic getting themselves ready, whether they're in, like F&B or hospitality or services or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
To get more digital ready, from having their presence across social platforms, listening to social sentiments, trends, tapping into e-commerce. We're not just saying products that are sold in e-commerce, services being sold, like everything, right? To even cars and houses being sold online as well now. And
Yeah.
businesses that are a bit more advanced, they would get responsive mobile apps, customer service and chatbots ready, right? So people can respond very quickly. Internal teams is important to them. So they are recruiting internal teams that are very savvy with consumer behaviors that align with the new digital world. So that's what digital transformation has done for the advertising field.
Yeah, it's great things that they have done. Yeah, and especially in the past 2 years, I see the growth has been immense. It's not small. We could see that. I mean, everyone has to shop online at one period back in 2020, 2021, right? So, of course, advertising has gone a lot more on digital side, right? And basically, what do you actually think the role of digital transformation is in the advertising industry? What role does it play? I mean, of course, we have always heard of technology advancement for the past 20, 30 years, but now we are going very specific on digital transformation itself. So much it involves so much of technology as well. So, what do you think about it? The role of it?
Yeah. So, I mean, you put it rightly. Like consumers start buying fish online, start buying fruits online, right? Yeah. And, right?
Yeah.
Logging into Instagram and like selecting fish instead of selecting pictures now. Huh?
Yes, exactly. Every little things.
Yeah. And the platforms are also, if you notice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a large platform like Facebook and Instagram and all that allow and enable the platform for buying and commerce and all that, the Facebook marketplaces and all that as well.
Yeah.
So in in that sense, the role that digital transformation, your question, in advertising industry is a few things. The first thing is that the advertising ecosystem has progressed in leaps and bounds actually in the past 5, 10 years. It's all driven by digitalization of media inventories that are made digitally. Meaning, people or businesses, regardless of who, big or small, or whichever category that they may be in, they can use programmatic buying in advertising to improve all the many inefficiencies of advertising of the past. Right? They can. It just allows them to buy almost all media digitally now. They can buy TV, they can buy radio, digital billboards, cinema ads, and many, many more, right? This is not just all the online media platforms, the banner websites, the social media, the Spotify audio ways ads, all of that combined,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Beyond that as well. So this increase in efficiencies also start eliminating transparency issues, ad fraud, brand safety, data accuracy, and more importantly, accountability across business and marketing efforts. Like when people put money into
Yeah.
advertising businesses, right? They want to know whether, hey, have it generated sales, right? Or like, hey, I saw sales coming in, but I'm not sure if it's a effect of like my team going out or the
Mm-hmm.
situation, the environment, like the economic or what it may be. But now with accountability in advertising, because of digital transformation, people start being able to see, I see it's because people have seen my search ad, people have seen what I was talking on social, like what we're doing
Yes,
today,
Kenneth.
right? Yeah, and all of that. So more importantly, business are able to get higher sales attribution. It's about
Mm-hmm.
accuracy from the campaign and money that they invest. So that's a key role in how it goes.
Okay, thanks, Kenneth. But I just would like to ask you, right? I'm just curious. So you see, like whenever I speak of something with my friend, right, and the next thing I know, it appears on my Google search, on my Facebook. Sometimes I wonder, are they actually listening to our conversation, or how do they actually taper all of this information out of us? I'm always
Ah,
curious about it, actually.
yeah, like I haven't met you before, but suddenly because I had a lunch meeting with you, suddenly you pop up in my LinkedIn. Like you might
Yeah,
know this person, right? Yeah, and all that,
right. That.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
those are that's a very interesting topic about privacy that I like to touch on as well. That's
yeah.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about the device that you have. It's about the proximity of device, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about things that you have searched on, read or watch across multiple platforms. You might have
Mm-hmm.
been researching about, like some fish recipe and all that. Suddenly, Baba start targeting you. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and all that. You're like, how do they know that I'm gonna cook fish tonight, right? Yeah, like, but that's how it works. Like proximity of two
Mm-hmm.
devices. That's why they're suspecting that you might have met, right? Like, so you might wanna like friend this person up on LinkedIn or Facebook.
But it's
That's
a
how
very
it.
interesting concept, basically, because it means that digital transformation is actually helping out with all of this, isn't it? I mean, this is
Yes, it,
parts and parcel of digital transformation, and therefore they are being able to do targeted advertising, if I'm using the correct word here,
yes, it
right?
is. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And
and
meaningful to the person that is looking at it, instead of
mm,
just random, like
yeah.
ads everywhere or messages everywhere, right? Yeah.
But honestly, I feel in the past 2 years, digital advertising has become a little bit more calm because pre-COVID, usually we just get bombarded with so many different advertisings on different platforms, whether it's relevant to us or if it's not relevant to us. But I feel like they have fine-tuned it a little bit during COVID. I don't receive a lot of unnecessary advertisements anymore. I don't know if there's anything has been done about it, but it's just what I think. Yeah. Let's move on to
Yeah.
the next question. Based on your experience, right? How is digital info transformation impacting advertising strategies, especially in COVID-19 era? We are living in a different era altogether. Life is not as we know anymore. So, how
Yeah.
has this actually impacted digital advertising? Is it for the better of you guys, or is it going backwards? Yeah.
So the the answer to that is that um, well, we or I don't have to stress how the pandemic has moved consumer and businesses towards online in Malaysia and globally, everywhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But along with this digital transformation that is, spearheaded or hastened because of the pandemic, businesses also start skewing their marketing budgets towards online nowadays. And we're seeing it right now, not just during the pandemic, post pandemic, it's endemic now, and all that.
Mm-mm.
So more marketing budgets are being skewed online.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually means that there has been a massive digital advertising and marketing talent crunch in the industry. Like
Yes.
everyone is looking
Mm-hmm.
for a social manager, a person that knows how to run online ads, that know how to, do website and any digital experience and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to all the students listening in, I am
Yeah.
selling here that there's a massive talent crunch. There's a lot of opportunities. And all this increase in marketing spends, increase in attention has created a lot of attention on digital advertising strategies, attribution, business growth. Our new business growth is not coming from just opening 50 more outlets. It's about how
Mm-hmm.
can we tap into 50 more
Yeah.
marketplaces, right? And enabling our team to, logistically from the warehouse deliver to people on time, answering, like consumers, customers very quickly, right? Whether
Mm-hmm.
it's whether you have now like a full customer service team that is able to respond to it, and it's no longer calling a 1-800 number and hopefully
Yeah.
someone picks up all that either, right? It's actually
Yeah.
replying directly on WhatsApp on like whatever channel that consumers are very comfortable to have a chat with, to buy stuff on. So what you talked about earlier is actually about how the ads are targeting you a bit more precisely, but also in a scary way, right? You don't know, is my online privacy safe? What is the future of it? Are people sharing my private information? Like what I'm searching, what I'm browsing, is that dangerous now? So a lot of effort is being done, not just in Malaysia. Malaysia, we have PDPA, and Europe, there's
Yeah.
GDPA, so forth, right? In the US, and many laws that are applicable over
Mm-hmm.
here in Malaysia because of all the platforms that we use. So what's happening is, um, there is going to be a lot more, like privacy that consumers will be able to control. Upcoming, we in the advertising
Mm-hmm.
industry, we call it the impending cookie apocalypse. So that's happening.
So,
It's going to be no more cookies. It's going to be very hard to find out what you have done or which website you have visited to retarget you. Or if you have seen a blue color pair of shoe and like Lazada, for example, that blue color pair
mm-hmm.
of shoes start following you everywhere you go, like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be a bit harder now. Yeah. That's starting very soon.
Ah,
So
I see.
user
That's
privacy
interesting.
online. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay, I
we will
see.
control. That is
Mm-hmm.
how we want to go about it. So like user privacy and all of that, it's gonna be turned off. It's gonna be not privacy turn off, as in like the tracking is gonna be turned off. So businesses, advertisers are now getting ready and seeing how they can build further brand trust, compliance with all these privacy laws, unification of their marketing data. They got marketing data from everywhere, from this branch,
Mm-hmm.
from the website, from the app, from the marketplace, multiple sorts of data. They need to unify that so that they can do a lot more things on like lookalike, that contextual targeting, predictive modeling, like so that it makes a lot of this. I have this. I've given this talk about algorithm before, and I
Mm-hmm.
say the future of business, the future of advertising, the future of marketing is about the algorithm. The more
Yes.
precise your algorithm, the better chance you are in discovering new customers and new consumers. And how I know you're cooking fish, but hey, here's a recommendation. Here's a recommendation. You might want to cook this. You might want to order this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
right, like that.
Yes.
So it's all the algorithm, ownership of the algorithm. Yeah.
So basically, what we have done, I mean, from what you're explaining and what I understand, so basically, we are moving to the next step of digital advertising. So previously, it was all about targeting and just getting as much data and throwing advertisement in people's face. But now you're going to use your algorithm to actually target better instead of just random targeting. If I can summarize so, right? And okay, so kind of moving on to the
Exactly.
next question. Okay, if I can move on to the next question. What are the common barriers
Sure.
that usually block the path to advertising strategies, especially in this particular era? Like, what usually blocks you guys from being able to do digital advertising?
Mm, mm. Um, that's a very common question. But it's nothing that you don't already know of, like. But I kind of break it down into five key things. The first barrier from people, like going further into their advertising strategy and digital
Yeah.
transformation and all that, is a lack of marketing systems. They want to do it, but they don't have a CMS or they don't have email automation. Like when people respond, like sometimes you get those emails that say, "Hey,
Yeah.
thanks for registering for like," all those are automated, right? Platforms like that. personalization is key. Like hopefully in the future we start addressing people, like a bit more in a bit more personal. Like you would see a much more personal ad that like anyone else would see, and of course online store presence. So that's the first thing. Like do they even have that? It's easy to say I want to start an online store, but does your warehouse and your delivery guys and your distribution are ready for it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not
True.
getting an online store, but like multiple things need to be set up. It's about with global and Malaysian economy. The second point, like global and Malaysian economy is
Mm-mm.
sliding out of the downturn already, like getting out of it already. We're saying improvement. People are out and about and buying things, and like all the activities start again. That's very important. During downturn time, right? Businesses don't have a lot of money and all that. They're very careful about where they put their money in. So
Yeah,
that is
definitely.
another reason that is limiting businesses to tap and expand into advanced advertising, right? Budget imitation. The third being, like a lot of times advertising strategies have to look into both short and long-term business and brand growth. A common barrier amongst advertisers that like we speak to every day, I speak to every day, is the
Mm-hmm.
pressure so that I can see sales immediately, right? But by continuously doing that, by continuously having short promos, tap into 1111, tap into 99, 10, 10, 8, 8, right,
Yeah,
and so forth, and all of that,
yeah.
you are actually they are also sacrificing longer term strategies like investment into brand building, ecosystem building, and all of that. So like the short term versus long term brand growth, it needs to be
Mm-hmm.
balanced out. The fourth one is the quick paradigm shift. All this happened very quickly. Excuse me. All this happened very quickly in the past 2 years. We didn't see it coming. We didn't
Yeah,
see COVID coming. Like
yeah.
at least most of us didn't, right? Um, and it means that the businesses, because it changes so quickly, they're struggling to manage that change. Like
Mm-hmm.
change in an organization is something that needs to be managed, it needs to be planned out, and like so that people will go through the steps. But because it happens so quickly as well, right? There is there is that like that causes some um, departments or
Mm-hmm.
businesses to be lagging behind. Right? So that's another common barrier. And finally, like what I mentioned before, the lack of advertising,
Yeah,
digital advertising talents and skill sets, like people with specific skill sets, skill resources. So I'm not talking about just in Malaysia. Every other market called me up and it's telling me the same thing, like, hey, we can't import talents. We can't, people can't travel, right? Usually, fine, I'll hire someone from
yeah,
like Singapore or from Thailand or from Philippines or India or wherever, right? But
yeah,
during COVID, that was the restriction. So we, like the whole industry rely, all the businesses rely on local
yeah,
talents, and we have that amount of hope. So
yeah.
like digital talents become highly valuable very quickly, and not just during now or in the past 2 years. That's going to be the way at least for the next 5, 10 years to mark my words. Right?
Yeah. So basically, I think it's a good platform. I mean, it's a good field for students to explore instead of going the old school business all the time, accounting all the time. Digital marketing is also more relevant to them because it's more of social media where they are all the time. The youngsters, I mean, the Gen Zs, right? So good. I will actually talk to my students about it so they are progressing in the future. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. So, no doubt, digital advertising is growing extensively now. Do you think that traditional advertising methods will actually phase out in the future or
Yeah.
in the
So yeah, or in the near future, right? That's the question. Um, a lot of people ask me this because I've been known as like the digital guy that does digital ads and like go
yeah.
out there and like digital ads is the way, like right. But the answer is this: traditional advertising methods will remain relevant now and going into the future, as it has been all this while, right? It will not go away. You will not stop listening to radio. People will still want to read their newspaper. People still want to watch TV and programs and all of that. And when you go out, you see billboards. Like when you walk in the mall, you see all the, like we call it POSF or
Yeah.
uh, right, point of purchase materials, right, and all of that, right. So it's the key to success is in advertising. It's about like combining campaign and strategies that has a combination of traditional and digital messaging working
Mm-hmm.
cohesively to reach and impact the right people, no matter what they're watching, reading, or hearing. So it works collectively, right? And that's how we want to do it, right? So no, traditional advertising is not going to go away. It's going to improve. It's going to make buying easier in the future. Just like you buy Facebook ads or you set up a Google ad account, anyone can do it. In the
Mm-hmm.
future, that's probably how you're going to do it to run billboard ads, to run TV ads, and all of that as well. And I'm not saying like far future because that's happening right now, right?
So basically, what we got to do is just marry both worlds together, and we get the best of advertising. If I could put it in a very simpler term, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, for the final question today, before we end the session, would you actually mind? Do you mind sharing with the youngsters or fresh graduates how they could actually get into the advertising industry, and is this will this actually be an attractive industry for Gen Zs or the millennials to actually be in? How do you think?
Mm.
What's the pathway like?
Yeah. I to all the students, to all the parents, to everyone, right, that's listening in today. I went through that process. I fully understand that choosing a career path is a daunting process. It's like, what do I want to specialize in? What do I want to get good in? Which industry, which category, and all. But I'm going to tell you this: the advertising world is a vast and highly agile industry. It requires people with rigor, a very strong mindset, very driven to be successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of which field you choose to be in within advertising. Because advertising is not just a course that you take
Mm-hmm.
and hence you become an advertising specialist. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
the advertising industry has a wide range of career options. So whether you are a creative person, you are a more of a strategist person, you are a media person, you're a digital marketing specialist, or even accounting and finance, right? Marketing and advertising specialists are always in demand, which means that there's incredible earning potential as well. That's the first
Yes.
thing that like I would strongly look at, right? What is my
Yes.
reason when I invest my time and like all of this for the next few years to select a career path, to select a course that I want to go into. It is not going to be a straight line path as other industry because advertising is a bit more exciting because it can be interdisciplinary as you want it to be. For
Mm-hmm.
example, if you're interested in psychology, you might decide to use your skills in psychology later to better understand consumer behaviors, understand like how you want to tailor your marketing communication precisely to how you expect the consumer to interact with because you know the psychology of consumers, right? That's how you apply it. So yes, yeah. My final words is advertising is an highly attractive industry, pays really well, for those that like strive really hard, for not just Gen Zs, but anyone looking to switch their career path as well, right?
So
So
basically, what I would, I mean, of course, we know that Gen Zs, they are the more social, no, how do I put this? They are the more technology socially apt generation as compared to the rest of us. The rest
yeah,
of us from the millennials, Gen Y, we learn our way through it. But the kids these days, they born and they know how to use their handphones and whatnot. So of course,
yeah,
this will be a more attractive pathway for them to look at. Thank you very much for saying that again. Yeah, just it was a great session. I think thank you very much for all your answers. I would love to collaborate with you again in the future because your insights are actually very amazing, especially regarding this industry. And we appreciate your time and commitment today. Thank you very much, Kenneth. And also, one day I would like to invite you over, yeah, And so, to all of the viewers, students, academicians, and also MIC staff, thank you for watching and also listening to our webinar session today. And to all the viewers out there, if you would like to know more about Masa International Avenue College, you may actually visit our website at www.maic.edu.my, or you can actually come and visit our campus on like every single day. Now we are open from Monday to Fridays. From this month up to August, you could come in every single day, or you could call us up, or you can PM us on our social media pages, and you will actually get a reply on whatever that you want to know. As for the School of Business and Accountancy, we offer three main diplomas, which is Diploma in Business, Diploma in Human Resource, and Diploma in Accounting, as well as Certificate in Business. If you're interested, you could always come and find me and I'll actually explain it to you guys. And until we meet again, Kenneth, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. A very good session today, Kenneth.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day ahead.
Yeah, have a great weekend, Kenneth. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.